Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky continued his tour of North America, touching down in Ottawa to meet Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. In response to Zelensky's appeal for more help to stave off Russia's invasion, Trudeau pledged more than €450 million over 3 years for 50 armoured vehicles to be built in the country. On Friday, Ukraine launched missile attacks on the headquarters of Russia's Black Sea Fleet in Crimea, annexed by Moscow in 2014. Russian authorities reported that one person was missing and that no one had been injured in the attack. On the ground, residents in Ukraine's eastern city of Kherson were left wading through the destruction after a Russian missile attack left at least 3 people dead. According to Ukrainian authorities, most of the 40 Russian missiles fired were shot down, causing debris to fall on civilian structures.
Those seeking better lives in Italy must now pay a deposit of almost €5,000 to avoid detention while their asylum application is examined. The measure was announced by the government on Friday, promising to generate controversy. This has been a record year for migrant arrivals in Italy. It is estimated that nearly 133,000 people have arrived in the country so far, almost double the number recorded last year and triple the number in 2021. The government says it will also increase the amount of time people could be detained, from 3 months to 18. Currently, those who apply for asylum in Italy are free to move within the country while their application is reviewed. Human rights groups have attacked the move, saying they're looking to make detention the norm for those fleeing war and poverty.
The European Commission's Executive Vice President for the Economy has begun a 4-day visit to China. Speaking at the Bund Summit in Shanghai, Valdis Dombrovskis called for a more balanced trade relationship with the world's second-largest economy, citing the EU's trade deficit of almost €400 billion per year with China as an example of inequality.
Our long-term interest is to embrace reforms and stay open to international cooperation. Here we see China as an important partner, one with whom the EU wishes to work towards a more balanced trade and investment relationship.
Dombrovskis says the European Union's recent strategy maximizes the benefits of openness while de-risking, insisting that the EU had no intention of decoupling from China and also called on Beijing to broaden access for foreign businesses. The Executive Vice President will next travel to Beijing, where he is expected to discuss the EU inquiry into Chinese electric cars.
Pope Francis challenged French President Emmanuel Macron and other European leaders to open their ports to people fleeing hardship and poverty. For a second day straight in the southern port city of Marseille, Francis took aim at EU countries that have tried to close their doors to migrants and tried to shame them into responding with charity instead.
Chi rischia la vita in mare non invade, cerca accoglienza, cerca vita. Quanto all'emergenza, il fenomeno migratorio non è tanto un'urgenza momentanea, sempre buona per divampare propagande allarmisti, ma un dato di fatto dei nostri tempi.
Macron, under criticism from conservatives and the far right, is pushing for the EU to strengthen its external borders and be more efficient in deporting those who are denied entry. More than 130,000 migrants have arrived in Italy since January, and over 2,300 died in the Mediterranean between January and June this year.
More than 1,000 people marching in the streets of London, wanting to rejoin the EU. Demonstrators waved European Union flags in the second national reunion rally. They're calling for Britain to rejoin the bloc, with signs reading "Brexit was never going to work" and "Tories out, rejoin the EU." The protesters are asking to put re-entry into the EU on the agenda the same day when political party conference season opens in the UK ahead of a general election expected next year.